Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. We are in the podcast studio at the Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship, and we have one alumnus from our Startup Visa program with us today. Rubayet.
Yes.
Rubayet.
Yes, that's the perfect way you're pronouncing it.
It's fine, right?
It's fine. You can also call me Ruba.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming, by the way.
Thank you
for
for
Friday. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Great. It's good to know. I'll give you a little bit of an overview of what we will discuss today. You are going to tell us a little bit more about the sustainable brand that you're working on, Voriino. Tell us a little bit more about itself, but also about yourself and your whole experience in the process, and maybe also some lessons that you learned. Because we always like to learn things, especially from our alumnus. Sounds good?
Yeah, happy to share my journey.
Okay. Please go ahead and tell us first about yourself and where you're from.
Well, my name is Rubayet, and you pronounced it perfectly, as I said. I'm from India, and I moved to the Netherlands almost 5 years back as a job seeker. And before that, I was a sailor. So,
you were a sailor?
I was in the merchant navy, so that was quite a jump and quite a detour I took. So I quit my job as a sailor and I moved to UK. Did my master's in logistics, and then I had my own Brexit.
Yeah, had your own path.
And then I moved to Rotterdam almost 5 years back as a job seeker, as I mentioned, and I started working for a logistics firm.
Okay.
It's Stolt Nielsen.
Nielsen?
Stolt Nielsen is a logistics analyst, so I worked almost for 2.5 years over there. And then I decided to quit everything and start my own company.
Okay. What exactly led you to become an entrepreneur?
Well, I had an idea, the seed that was planted back in my master's when I did my research on garment supply chain. So that was my window to the fashion world a bit. I realized what fast fashion is, and I got really connected to what the fast fashion is doing to the planet and what we can do together. So I had an idea about it. But anyways, to get that idea into shape, it took some time, and I met my business partner. Probably that was the time when I really felt that, okay, I cannot do this alone, I need someone else. So back in almost 2019, I met my business partner here in Rotterdam, Mick Hartman. So together we had the same passion, the same let's say interest in sustainability, the same kind of consciousness, how we call it, how we can do better in terms of making clothes clean. And he also has a very strong knowledge in logistics, supply chain, and all about clothing. So together we thought to start with something like trading in sustainable clothes. At that time, the idea of Voriino get into it's a very, very early stage. And then another thing happens, and that was the insight into hemp. So my business partner is also a tour guide. So one tourist came to Rotterdam from the US, and he decided, do you know, you can make clothes from hemp? I was like,
a lot of people don't know.
I have no clue. Of course, we had no clue. And it's going to be huge in the next couple of years. You can think about it. So I had some contacts in India, Bangladesh, and then we decided to place some calls.
Okay, don't worry. We'll get into hemp as a main factor in your t-shirts, right? But that was already like a little bit of the story behind Voriino, because Voriino is the name of your sustainable brand. And how did your own professional experience influenced, or background influenced Voriino?
Oh, I had a background in shipping. As I said, I started as a sailor, and then I ventured into logistics. Now, one of the things, especially in the beginning of the stages, was sourcing, because responsible sourcing is one of the most important things we do as a brand. And sourcing really involves a lot of logistics operations. So talking to suppliers, and not just one country, but 3-4 countries, figuring out the freight costs, landed costs, all the technical part of the things, how to import, what kind of duty we expect, negotiating with the suppliers. So the knowledge of logistics helped a lot.
Okay.
And apart from that, the research that I did during my master's was actually, I'll tell you how I got the idea of the topic. I was in a store in Newcastle where I did my master's, in a fast fashion store. I'll not take the name of the store, but I saw a t-shirt being sold for £2. And I was struggling to find a topic, so I went to t-shirt to my professor and say, how are they selling at £2 and making profit out of it? So that was the start of the budding idea of this business. And then I realized that there's a lot of dark side to the fashion industry, right? And so I came in contact with suppliers, manufacturers, and I started calling them and I said, hey, we want to make a sustainable product out of hemp. Will you help us? So
this is how Voriino was born.
Voriino was born, the idea, yeah.
Okay. But our fashion industry is vast and big. So how do you stand out as a startup, as a new idea with, using hemp?
Well, one of the most soul-searching exercises we did in the beginning, together with my co-founder Meg and the rest of our board, is how explicitly we define sustainability. Sustainability is a buzzword. Everybody's using it on labels, on clothes, of anything. But how explicitly you define, and how the range, the dominant range of the definition expands to, like, is it only the production? Is it only the packaging? Is it only the sourcing? Is it how you deliver? So what our aim was to be sustainable at every stage of the supply chain, as much as we can aspire.
Yes, okay.
As much as we can, we of course humbly accept, and I think more companies should do that 100% sustainability is great to aspire for, but it's not possible yet. And that is probably one of the things that we had to accept. And okay, we can make an amazing product out of this fabric of hemp and organic cotton, but still, we have to transport them in a truck. There are no battery-powered trucks yet. We have to fly them out, ship them out. Everything has a carbon footprint, but the more you can reduce the impact, the better. So that was more or less.
So basically, you're saying that sustainability in your corporations is its very core, and that makes you quite competitively different than competitors.
Comparatively different, and also one of the other angles as a startup, also when you talk to investors and you talk to stakeholders, you have to find a gap in the market, and it was very important for us to find out the gap. And the gap is our mission as a brand and as founders. What we have wanted to do is to bring sustainability to the main street, right? Because see, there are two broadly, if you divide the fashion industry, there are like exclusive boutiques, small companies who are making sustainable clothes but selling at a very high price. And then you have the fast fashion companies. They are not really sustainable, but they're selling at a very low price. So our aim is to find that gap, that we want to sell sustainable clothes at a price that people can afford. Of course, we humbly accept that we cannot sell at a price that the fast fashion companies are selling, because how things are. That if you see the labels really closely, you will find out that in order to sell the clothes at that price, there has to be some kind of, let's say, discrimination or exploitation or some kind of negative impact that's associated with it.
So are you revolutionizing our way of we think about clothing with Voriino, or is it more about bringing a sustainable brand on the market and then contributing to sustainability?
I think it's both. I think what we want to do as a brand, as well as to make people, customers, stakeholders aware that sustainability and I think reducing the impact is a collective responsibility. It's not only the responsibility of a brand. It's like people also have to become more conscious. I think we have come a long way in how we buy food. Like we go to the supermarket, we read labels saying gluten-free, vegan, lactose-free, sugar. But when it comes to buying clothes, it's still, when I see the huge queues in front of the certain stores which are selling, let's say, t-shirt for €5, it kind of signifies that a lot of people are not aware.
Yes, that's
So I think retail levels, I think that's one of the things we want as a brand is, okay, sustainability of course is great, but also when you're buying clothes, being more responsible, being more conscious. And even if buying sustainable clothes is a bit more expensive, I think that's a fair choice. Also not because it's sustainable, but usually sustainable clothes are more durable. It will last longer. It's that's why if we compare our hemp t-shirts with a normal cotton t-shirt, it can withstand almost four times more washes. So the cost of paying more is actually easily compensated.
But I myself never really heard about using hemp in textiles. So can you maybe educate me and tell me what the advantages are of using hemp?
Well, hemp has been there for centuries, but I think it got out of fashion because cotton got really popular in the late 90s. And the thing is, hemp was usually used for ropes and dyeing, household furniture kind of stuff. But the technology was not advanced to make it into a fashion product. But now with advancement of technology, we find out that hemp fibers are so strong, so durable, and especially if you blend it with other fabrics. So there is a lot of chemistry involved in what we are doing. So we found out that okay, we can make a t-shirt out of 100% hemp, but it will not give you the look and the feel of a t-shirt. So we decided to blend it with organic cotton, and we realized that blending it not only makes it more sustainable, but also gives you the exact feeling of a soft cotton t-shirt or any other material, even better. And then you have the other advantages, like it dries easily, it absorbs moisture, it keeps you like cool in summer and warm in winter.
I was about to ask that. How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, when I read, I was like, wow, is it possible?
Okay, so a cool shirt in the summer and a warm shirt. Oh, it's the same shirt in the winter.
Yeah.
How?
Well, the thing is, if you read the properties of how the hemp fibers are, it's actually very strong, as I mentioned, and it absorbs moisture a lot. So any fibers that absorb moisture a lot will absorb sweat as well. Like in summer, that gives you, like during the heat wave, we were wearing on t-shirts, we couldn't see any sweat marks at all, even after wearing for 2-3 days. And it sometimes even freaks us out as well. Wow.
I need one of those shirts.
Yeah. Now that the temperatures are rising, why not?
But I think I read somewhere that your process of blending cotton and hemp took quite some time.
Yes.
Yeah. How long did it take?
Well, the final product that is on our market is our 5th attempt. So we had 4 failed attempts that spanned for over a year thanks to the pandemic. And it's naturally it's not an easy yarn to blend. I'll tell you, when you blend hemp and cotton, at least in the percentage we use, it's a bit of an exclusive yarn. Not many suppliers know about it, not many suppliers dare to attempt it, but we've got someone based in India who is also which is also a kind of a startup, and they want to explore with us, try different things with us. And first we started sourcing from China, but we had to change our entire supply chain to India because of certain issues that we faced, labor issues. Then we decided not to go ahead with that as a part of our company strategy in responsible sourcing. So that took us quite some time, and then we started an entire supply chain from Nepal. So the hemp is grown in the mountains of Nepal.
Okay.
The organic cotton is grown in the south of India. So the hemp from the north, cotton from the south, blending somewhere in the middle of India. So it's a pretty spread out supply.
Yes, it is. Yeah. But do you focus only on selling those shirts here in the Netherlands, or do you also ship them maybe to India?
Well, our strategy as a company is to start with B2C in the Netherlands because it's a Dutch company. So we first test in the Dutch market, and also, because we are selling a fashion product, a commodity fashion product, which is a basic t-shirt, size is a big issue. So what size sells in Netherlands might not sell in US. That's one of the things that different countries of different sizes. The Dutch are so tall, so
Yeah.
to customize them.
You said it. I didn't want to say it, but you said it.
But our goal is to start with Netherlands, and we have plans to expand to the rest of Europe very soon, especially the West Europe. And we, of course, our web shop is we ship internationally. That's not a problem. Where we just say that, okay, if you're ordering from US, order a size larger, it's better.
Make that really specific. So your target group, is it everyone, or who exactly are you targeting with your shirts?
Our target group, especially for this product, is the Zoomers and the millennials. I'm using very, very internet words. It's the Generation Z, Generation Y.
Gen Zs.
Gen Zs. Because also that's one of the reasons also we made it a bit slim fit. To fit more on the design side of things. We designed this product as well. But overall, I think we are targeting everyone who wants to buy a sustainable, high quality, durable t-shirt for the price.
So do you have any measures on how you're planning on making Voriino accessible for other target groups, maybe also concerning pricing? Because we can still choose fast fashion because of the price.
I think one of the explores we, together with the board, we are exploring is B2B, channels, and how we can find out channels, find out collaborations to which we can reach out to other target groups as well. Also, we'll be opening a shop on bol.com as well very soon, adding more products. And one of the things, the best part of the fashion industry is there's so many different things you can make out of this fabric, right? So this is just the first product.
True.
So let's say if you're making slim fit t-shirts just for the millennials and the Gen Zs, and the next week we can regular size a bit more for the other target groups, because we see that generally about 50 or 60 they don't like slim fit, but we start with this, and later on we add more to the product line. And I think the story that we have, the story of compassion, will not just resonate with our target group, but with everyone.
That's that story of compassion. Like what is behind it?
I think what I feel, that emotional component of sustainability is actually compassion. Right? Why do you buy a sustainable product? It may be an electric scooter or an electric car, or a biological food item or clothing, because you care. Because actually that care comes from inside. That's compassion. Compassion for the planet, for the people. So our goal is to tell our mission is to tell the world that our story is a story of compassion. And every product level has a story. Make that a story of compassion, not a story of discrimination or exploitation. And make sure you have everything to back it up. Every data, every evidence to back it up.
Well, I myself, I was not very aware of the sustainable fashion, or even maybe aware of my own closet, right? So I need to educate myself also a little bit more on that side, because maybe sustainability is more prevalent in my life in different fields, because you said it's a buzzword. So what would you say, what kind of tips could you give a person like me, or someone who resonates with me, on being more sustainable conscious when it comes to our clothing?
I think the first thing, read the labels. I think I used to work as part-time for a certain fast fashion company. And I think I worked for 6 months, and every day in the storeroom I used to read the labels. And every label tells a story. You know where it's made, and it doesn't matter where it's made, but when you see the price, when you see the fabrics, what it's made of, if it's made of polyester, it discharges microplastics to the ocean. Do you really want to buy it? Is it absolutely necessary you need to buy it? So consider the options and
read the labels.
Read the labels. And I think if you're buying, let's say, an item like a jacket or something, the longer you can wear is better. And one of the most important things that we figured out while calculating the end-to-end impact of our supply chain is how much washing impacts. Like, I'll tell you, if you consider the CO2 impact, and if you see the impact it has when you put close to the dryer, right? It is actually a lot. So I would urge you, if weather permits, if time permits, just line dry your clothes. Don't put it in the dryer as often as you can. So the less you wash, the better. I'm not telling you to wear dirty clothes. Please don't mistake me for that.
Rubayet said to wear dirty clothes.
Yeah, I think cold water line dry or warm water line dry. I mean, that's in our labels for in our t-shirts. We are recommending to reduce the impact. That's why I mentioned it's a collective responsibility. We can make an amazing cloth, but if you're washing it every 2 days and above 40 degrees, then that's not the kind of way you treat, let's say, sustainable consumption in some ways. Yeah.
Maybe one last tip.
One last tip.
Yeah, I'm reading it all out.
No, research your brands. Read the annual statement. Read the story they're telling and see the kind of certifications they provide. See how authentic they are. It's not easy in these days, and where technology is so advanced, you can find out. You can tell which one is greenwashed and which is not.
Okay, 3 tips that I will take home with me. I'll write it out. Thank you for sharing. I mentioned in the beginning that you're an alumnus from our Startup Visa Program.
Yeah.
Right? So of course I have to ask you, over the past recent years, what kind of challenges have you encountered?
Well, a lot of challenges, as probably I got the Startup Visa in 2020. That's in the middle of pandemic.
2020. Ooh.
And that's
Peak
pandemic. So I started with my journey when COVID came in with the bang. So yeah, I mean, I'll tell you something, and I have been on 4 different visas in 4 years. So this is probably my last visa. So I'm used to the visa process a lot. But actually, challenges wise, I mean, the Startup Visa was a very smooth procedure thanks to Erasmus St. Eastby. And if you ask me other kind of challenges, of course, if you want to carry out a business that involves a global supply chain in the middle of a pandemic, that involves quite some disruption. So imagine that we placed the orders, and suddenly a new variant came and the factory got closed, and then 3-4 months delay. Then the war came, then the inflation, the prices of cotton went up 30%, and then you have to absorb the shock. So as a startup, it's not easy, and that was one of the challenges also, that we have to absorb a lot of shocks to the cash flow. And well, it adds always to the delays, and the more delays you get.
So was it patience that got you through it, or did you have any other measures to adapt to the situations that you were facing?
Well, of course, the patience was non-negotiable.
Because Corona's there, what you gonna do? We have to wait.
Well, what can we do?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think having a great team helps, because in situations like this, it's not usual, right? Pandemic is not usual. It's not that something you can predict on a forecast. This is all, no matter how great you are in coming up with a forecast, I think best analysts of the world can predict that.
Yes.
So these are the times when you need a bit of emotional support from your team to build up the resilience that you need. Okay, let's wait. I think having very fruitful, meaningful relationships with your suppliers help, because they are the ones who make the clothes. They are the ones who work at the factory. So giving them sometimes ample time, and also understanding their perspective, because there's a cultural difference as well. So make always to treat them with all the respect and dignity and all the space they need to come up with solutions. So that helped.
Okay. And in your personal entrepreneurial journey, what was the one thing that you didn't expect at all?
How much I would learn every day. I think I learned more from a startup than I did from a bachelor's master's combined.
Ooh. Just become an entrepreneur, not study, you're good.
Yeah. I think it's the breadth of what you learn, because in the beginning we were just 2 founders trying to figure your way out, right? And especially also it's a new country. I mean, I started my business in a country where I'm not born for, so it's a lot of things that you need to figure out in the beginning. But yeah, I think when you're just two people, you have to do everything yourself, from sourcing, marketing, content, investor relations.
Sounds a lot.
But yeah, it's good.
But now, what about the team? How much did you grow as a team?
Oh, so we are still two founders, of course, but we have a very wide, let's say, team of advisors, mostly based in the US, but also a few in Europe. And they are specialized in different aspects of the business, and they advise us. And we work together as a team, of course. And we have Scott Deeds, who's ex-VF. We use the communications head over there. We have Don Nelson advising us on sourcing and product and issues. And we have Claire from Switzerland, who advises on the finance side of things. And one of the latest additions is Chris Dodd from Amsterdam, and he guides for the e-course.
Okay, that sounds like a diverse team from overall places.
Yes, and it's growing. We will add more. We are looking for, and also we have a great marketing agency working with us almost as a team.
Nice. So, okay, we've been talking a lot about your challenges and the background and the journey that Voriino was and is going through. But now as a forecast for the future, what are your plans with Voriino?
So first, we want to add more products, and we are already having discussions with retailers, buyers, distributors. And one of the things they are also asking that, okay, this is great T-shirt, but we want to see more products, so we will be adding polos,
Polo shirts.
polo shirts. We are maybe in possible also sweatshirts for the fall winter. And next year we see what we can also do in the other basics items. So product diversification is one of the most important things we want to do. And also exploring other countries for B2C, like Germany, Belgium, both.
Come to Germany.
Because they are neighbors. Easy for the shipping and logistics side of things. But also we are exploring also in the very near future, the US market.
Okay. Like all the best for that.
We have a lot of people, team from there. So
Kind of makes nice. Do you perhaps have final advice for our young entrepreneurs?
Oh, well, when it comes to advice, I think one of the things I learned is take advice from a lot of people, but find your own way. Because what works for someone else might not work for you. I think it's one of the things that I figure out on the way. It's the journey of an entrepreneur it's more than the business part. It also changes you as a person. So I think one of the advice is just to enjoy it, the ups and the downs. There will be moments of hope and moments of despair. So sail both with a bit of a stoicness.
Enjoy all the parts, even if Corona hits you hard.
No, war, inflation, whatever, it's just you have to smile through it, glide through it. And I think there's this one line I didn't like poetry a lot, and there's this one line from Charles Bukowski from the poem All the Way. It said, if you're going to try, go all the way, otherwise don't even start.
Oof. Period. Yeah, I guess that's it, right?
Yes.
We came to an end. Is there anything else you would like to mention?
No, thanks a lot. It was great talking to you.
No, it was great talking to you too and listening to you too. I would only say thank you so much, and all the best for your future plans and with Voriino, of course, and hope to see you again.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Guys, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Please stay tuned because we have a lot of more stories coming up. Bye.
Bye.
If you have any idea, just do it. Don't wait.
Got like a passion for what you're doing?
I would say never give up.